Welcome Year 6 to Week 11 of Home Learning. Mrs. Thornley here, and welcome to the Swinging 60s. Your home learning this week is based all around this decade, the music, the pop culture, the fashion, and we think you're going to have fun with this. Your reading comprehensions are also based around this theme, the music and the fashion of the culture and the time. And then there's a famous song, Eleanor Rigby, which was written by John Lennon, one of the Beatles. And there's a few questions to answer about the lyrics in the song. Continuing on our Beatles theme, you've got a very iconic image here that the Beatles put on the front of their Dr. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band in the 1960s. In this image here, you can see how very famous people of the time were depicted in the image, and they were chosen because of their particular significance in history or at the time, or because they had a particular significance to the Beatles. It's important to understand that album covers were very significant during the 1960s. They were the way artists sold their music. So what they put as images on the front of their covers were very significant and very important to them. And obviously they spent a lot of time designing these. What we want you to consider this week is if an artist of popular music today decided to recreate a similar album cover, who would they choose to put on this album cover? You have to write persuasively to tell us who it is you think deserves this honour. Once you've decided which character in history or of the modern decades that it is you feel deserves to go on the front cover of an album, you'll need to do some research about what it is they've achieved during their lifetime. What is it about this particular individual that's had an impact on their world or society and the people in it? What is it they're famous for? Why were they significant in history, perhaps? Or what is it that they achieved for their nation that others didn't? Either way, you'll need to make sure that you've done plenty of research about your characters so that you know what it is you're going to write about, what facts and dates you're going to include to ensure your argument is really persuasive. Let's face it, there's plenty of people we could choose, so what is it that makes your particular individual one that is deserved? As always, there's a model of excellence on the server for you to refer to give you some ideas, but we've also included a persuasive checklist so you can see whether or not you're using all the different features in the writing to present your argument. Linked with our English theme this week then, we're looking at the Swinging 60s, and Miss Eddleton has put together a history video as usual so that you have a better understanding of what life was like after the war and how popular culture didn't really become fashionable until the 1960s. This week your history task is based around the music of the era. We'd like you to do another interview with someone who was alive during the 1960s and perhaps a teenager or someone in their young 20s enjoying music and popular culture of the time. Once you've done an interview and collected together some of their song titles and artists that were favourite to them at the time, we'd like you to have a listen of them and then fill in the jukebox jury quiz. If we go back a little bit in time, during the war, people had to ration their clothes as well as their food, and they were very used to making do and mending their clothes, fixing things up, handing things on, and very few people had new items of clothing, until the popular culture of the 1960s came into play, and then fashion became really important. Your art task this week then is to consider fashion of the 60s and design an outfit for some very popular toys of the time, Barbie and Ken. So you can design a male and female outfit based on 1960s fashion. The spag task should look really familiar, and you've got one of those to practice this week. And spelling looks at word endings. There's a grid for you to fill in based on a root word and a word search for you to practice. Our science topic is continuing on the animal theme, but looking at endangered creatures, which reflects back on some of the reading comprehensions we did at the beginning of the spring term when we were studying perspectives and the rainforests. Have a little look at some of the task sheets that Mr. Gooding's put together for you, and then there's a grid for you to complete at the end. Your STEAM task this week is called Spinning Juice, which sounds rather messy to me, so make sure you've got permission to do this and perhaps do it outside in the garden to avoid any spillages. Good luck with that. You should notice that the maths this week doesn't link to the home learning. That's because I put week 6 up for last week's learning because that was half term. The White Rose site hasn't produced anything for half term separately, so I've put you up a task this week which statistics revision. Have a look at that. There's line graphs and working out the mean this week. For those of you wanting further challenge, the Year 7 sheets are on the Google Drive again, along with a couple of additional challenges that Mr. Cole has put together for you. So take a look at those if you want to stretch your brains. Last of all, there's computing home learning, and this week you're going to do some code cracking, thinking carefully, following instructions precisely, and learning about what a cipher is and how it was used during World War II. So that's week 11, home learning year 6. We hope you have fun with some of those activities and like the swinging 60s. We know we're going to be seeing some more of you in school next week, and we hope to see even more of you as the term passes by. We look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care, stay safe. Bye bye for now.